I was experiencing fertility struggles and miscarriage, all of these well-intended comments from family, friends, strangers, everybody alike, it seemed like, made me feel like I was somehow to blame. Like the issues I was experiencing were my fault. And it's time to change how we talk to women about their motherhood experiences and get rid of that self-blame around fertility struggles and pregnancy loss.
Yeah, I mean, people just love to give advice.
They do.
We've talked about that a lot.
I was talking to Dr. Jessica Zucker about this recently, and she's actually going to be on a future episode of ours.
Yay.
And she was saying we just don't have a language
Sure.
around how to talk to people about loss and grief in this particular kind of way.
Right, because women's bodies are shameful. And
Exactly.
anything that happens to them is taboo.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we hide them away. We don't talk about these things. Right. We pretend they didn't happen. And so then we feel like, well, we must have done something wrong if we need to hide it. But the one that I think really hits when it comes to thinking about blame was I got it the most frequently when I was pregnant after a miscarriage. And, I had 4 miscarriages in a row before I had a successful pregnancy. So I was pregnant after a miscarriage many, many, many times before I finally had my living baby. And people would say to me all the time, just relax. And this time it'll be different. And then this time wasn't different.
Sure.
And then the next time they would say it again. And the next time they would say it again. And so it made me feel really isolated and alone in this situation because it felt like this reminder that people didn't understand where I was and that they didn't even know how to try to support me through that space.
Or they didn't want to try?
Sometimes I definitely felt like they didn't want to try. I think when it comes to how we support someone through grief, it all comes down to emotional intelligence. And some of that is innate. Some of it we have learned. Some of it we have tried to learn ourselves. Others we've been taught. So for some people, it felt like you could have the capacity for this and you don't. And for other people, it felt like you just really don't understand. And so what I kept finding myself doing was saying, please don't say that to me. I understand you're well-intentioned, but the reality is, 1, me relaxing has nothing, 0, to do with whether this pregnancy succeeds. And number 2, you don't know what's going to happen. So telling me it will be different this time makes me feel like you're not a trusted person.
Yeah, it just sets you up for failure if something doesn't go well.
Exactly.
Like, what if you totally relax and you still have another miscarriage?
Exactly.
What does that
I
do?
Can't just relax.
Yeah.
That's not my personality.
Have you met Katie?
Hello, generalized anxiety disorder.
Right, yeah, totally.
But also, it's just, even if I did that, we can't predict anyone's future.
Yeah.
We can't predict anyone's outcome. And this is why it's so difficult. All of my friends struggling with infertility talk about the same thing. People say just relax as if that's going to make the difference, and it makes them feel, they tell me daily, like, so you're telling me this is my fault somehow, that if I relax more, I would actually be able to get pregnant. And it's just factually not true, but it's also hard. What I actually did, people tell me all the time that I'm amazing at setting personal boundaries. And they're like, how do you do it? Will you teach me? I've been invited into pregnancy after miscarriage groups or miscarriage groups to specifically talk about setting personal boundaries. And they say, how do you do it? And the answer is, honestly, I've always been horrifically bad at it. And sometimes I still am. But I learned it during the recurrent miscarriage and pregnancy after a miscarriage time. And so I'll wrap up with this story because I just think it's such a pertinent one to show how we can kind of set these boundaries. My mom, God bless her. Love you, Mom. I know you're listening to this.
We love Kathy.
Hi, Kathy. She tries so hard to be supportive and empathetic, and we have a lovely relationship, which is why it was extra hard for me when she didn't know how to support me the way that I needed during this time. And to her credit, she learned, and she worked really hard to learn, and ultimately was a major support system. And postpartum, I genuinely don't know if I could have survived without her. But when I got pregnant with Jack, by this point, I was announcing pregnancies as soon as I found out about them, only to the people who I wanted to support me if I were to lose the pregnancy, right? So you always knew, and you always found out through text message.
Right.
Because what I did is I would text all my people, my core people, right? And I would be like, hey, we're in it again.
Right.
Got a positive test this morning. I'm feeling terrified. I just want you to know where I am for whatever happens. Most of the responses I got to that were hearts and, just a little heart on the iPhone. And that was perfect. That was all I needed. But at this point, we had gone through fertility treatments. I'd had a surgery that had found and fixed a problem. I'd been on rounds of antibiotics to fix a different problem. I was taking a lot of medication to account for possible problems that we didn't know for sure if they existed or not. But my doctor just called it the kitchen sink approach. We're going to do these things just in case. Yeah. Turns out we probably needed to, so thank God he did. So I knew that when I announced this pregnancy, there was going to be a level of hope that there had never been before. And so...
And that hope puts pressure on you, right?
It puts so much pressure on you because people expect you to be hopeful and excited and joyful.
And you want to be.
You want to be. But after loss, so many moms aren't. And after nothing but loss, my brain didn't know how to process that there could be a good ending. Sure. Like that didn't even register as a possibility subconsciously. It was really hard. And so what I actually did, because I didn't want to tell my parents via text message. I think they're the only people I didn't tell via text message. This episode is sponsored exclusively by Genate by Snip Therapeutics, providing genetics-powered nutrition tailored for every stage of the fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum journeys. With Genate, it's not just about a single product or service. It's about a journey toward optimal maternal and fetal health. From their insightful Genate test to their meticulously formulated prenatal vitamin, every step is a leap forward in maternal care. My own journey with Genate has been transformative, bringing a sense of control and peace in an often unpredictable time. They are changing the game in prenatal nutrition, and I'm proud to be part of the movement to provide personalized health care for every mother out there. Learn more at undefiningmotherhood.com/Genate and use code undefining10 for 10% off. I called my dad and I said...
Tell him to prep your mom.
I did. I said, hey, Daddy.
I love it.
Is Mama around? Yeah. And he said, no, she's in the shower. And I was like, perfect. So here's the deal. I'm pregnant again. We're going in for blood work later today, and we'll follow it for the next few weeks. You know the drill. You know how this goes. I need for you to tell Mama, and I need you to tell her that as much as I love her and I want her to experience joy and excitement about this announcement, I don't want her to contact me until she can not be excited. Sure. Because I just can't right now. And to my mom's credit, it took her like 10 minutes.
But she needed those 10 minutes to process it.
She needed those 10 minutes to remind her to be excited and to think, oh my gosh, maybe this time will be different. And then to prep herself to not say to me, maybe this time will be different.
And ultimately, that boundary is kind to her, too, right? It makes her process. It makes her respond to you in a way that is more helpful to you. It's just better for everybody.
Exactly. But and I think that's the huge point, because when we think about all of these things that people say to someone going through infertility, going through pregnancy loss, pregnancy after loss, that are hurtful, they don't mean for them to be hurtful.
Of course not.
In the vast majority of cases, I'm there somewhere I wonder. But they don't mean to hurt you or to upset you.
Most of your close family and friends don't mean to.
They don't mean to. And yet, there's this chasm between you now that you're going to remember. I can tell these stories. It's been 7-8 years, and I can tell the stories. I remember my emotions. I remember the room I was in. I remember who was in the shower. I remember that my parents were at the beach because I'm picturing where my dad's sitting. Like, these things stick with you. And so I think if we can talk about what comments are hurtful, why they're hurtful, and what we can do better, we're really going to set everybody up for a better experience for healthier relationships.
Yes, definitely. It's not just about you.
Exactly. It's not just about me. It's about everyone. Okay, so here's what I want to do.
I'm ready.
Before we get in, I want to play a game of like things people say after miscarriage or infertility poker. Okay?
Oh, God, okay.
So Sarah and I have both made a list.
Yep, I'm ready.
And we are going to like see if we can one up each other. Okay? See if we can get the worst one. All right. So I think you go first.
Okay, so we did just relax and it'll happen. Love that.
I love this one. My friend started doing fertility yoga and she got pregnant.
Yay, that's great for her. Okay, how about just adopt?
Ooh.
There are tons of kids out there who need homes.
Because adoption is
super inexpensive, unproblematic.
Easy time. Okay, yeah. Okay, how about this one? Acupuncture solved infertility for my cousin's best friend's sister's maid of honor. Have you tried that?
God. Okay, this one's terrible. It applies to people who are experiencing secondary infertility. Just be thankful for the child you already have.
Oh my God. So many people in the Undefining motherhood community are like, they're hearing that one. Right. They feel that. Oh, because one child does not replace another. Okay, how about this? And this one makes me furious for people struggling with conceiving. You should try IVF. I've heard you get to pick the baby you want.
Whew.
These are all real comments that either we've heard or our friends or community have heard. Okay.
This one's rough. At least you weren't further along.
We're going to have to do a whole episode on that one day. Okay. We're from the South. I got a lot of very religious comments. I got this one. God needed your baby more than you did.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How about you must not have been ready to have a baby?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're winning on that one, but you know what?
Okay.
I think I still have the trump card.
Okay.
I think I got it. You ready for this? This one came straight from a member of the Undefining Motherhood Instagram community. And she said that one of her friends said to her, you ready for this? Well, I heard you were on birth control, so you probably killed your baby.
Oh, my God. Like, what do you even...
What? Even. So, like, we could go on for years about this, right? We could go on for years. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why advice like just relax or try again or be thankful for what you have, why this advice is so problematic.
Which one do you want to focus on? Because we've got a lot going on.
We got a lot. Okay, so today we're going to focus on just relax.
All right.
Because that's one that I think no matter what you're experiencing, if it's infertility, if it's pregnancy loss, you have heard this. So this
even
is a
if
good
you're
one.
just like a type A woman, you've probably heard this.
Oh gosh, it's true. Yeah, so just relax is what we're going to focus on. And you know what? We need to focus on the fact that there's one major issue. And that one major issue is that this comment does not meet you where you are in the moment. And that manifests with so many types of problems. So let's dig into them.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.